Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose, and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers, and believers. And we ask you again, one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
Welcome to another battle of the professionals against the amateurs as round one coverage of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup continues here at Cardinal Stadium in Seaside, California. It is USL Championship side Monterey Bay taking on Inter San Francisco. Tyler Terrence along with Marion Crowder. Glad to have you with us for what should be a fantastic game. And of course, for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, we are celebrating 11 decades. The first edition of this tournament was played back in 1914. The very same league that Inter San Francisco play in actually predates not only this tournament, but the U.S. Soccer Federation as a whole in 1913. Inter San Francisco's league has been around for more than 150 years, dating back to 1902. San Francisco was only settled in the late 1870s, and then about 50 years later, they said, well, we've got everything set up, including an economy and the whole thing. Why don't we just throw in a soccer league as well? So we've got more than a little history for you, while Monterey Bay are just enduring their first several seasons or so as a professional club. Marion, let's take a look at the starting 11s, and while this Inter San Francisco side might just look like another amateur side that qualified through local qualifiers, they've got some professional talent.
And they're very much not just another amateur side. This is a team made up of several previous Oakland Roots players, several previous players who have been in these cup set situations. And Monterey Bay FC, a team who is just getting their footing. And Tyler, this is a complete change from the way that they have typically lined up in the USL Championship season so far.
Well, we are just about ready for kickoff between Monterey Bay and Inter San Francisco. This Inter San Francisco group, of course, got to the U.S. Open Cup 2 years ago where they fell in extra time to El Farolito. Of course, everybody remembers that name. And talking to the head coach and player coach, if you will, for Inter San Francisco, Amir Darabi, he said that this group has been itching to get back to this tournament since, and obviously had to go through the grueling local qualifiers that every amateur side has to go through if you're not participating in a league like the USL League 2 where the top 9 teams are able to qualify. Inter San Francisco getting through their qualifying rounds with a number of goals at their disposal, but they are going to be a little bit flexible in terms of the way that they play against Monterey Bay. They actually hired their very own analytics professional to break down everything that Monterey Bay does. Obviously, that can only get you so far. You have to perform within the course of the 90 minutes, and that's what they're going to try to do against the Monterey Bay side that, yes, is only in its 4th season of existence as a professional club, but of course sports some great talent that we're going to see in their starting 11, with the big one being 35-year-old Alex Dixon, who's been around for quite some time, originally from Bay City, Texas, and he is going to be up top with Luke Ivanovic as well as Xavi Nulati. And pulling the strings in the middle of the park is going to be Moby Fair and Ethan Bryant, as well as Pierce Galloway for Jordan Stewart and this Monterey Bay side. And Inter San Francisco just staying loose. The game has not officially started just yet.
Let's go!
It is a battle for Northern California between Monterey Bay and Inter San Francisco, and the second round is very much on the line here as we invite you to turn off the world and turn on the game. We're playing for a spot in the second round of the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It is Monterey Bay of the USL Championship taking on Inter San Francisco, an amateur side that qualified through the local qualifiers. Tyler Terrence along with Marion Crowder. Of course, for Monterey Bay, they enter the tournament just by simply existing as a second division side And this is a group that has struggled in their first 3 years of existence in league play, finishing in 12th in the Western Conference in 2022 in their inaugural season, 11th in 2023, and 11th again in 2024. They've very much been bottom feeders in the Western Conference of the USL Championship. And of course, for this Inter San Francisco group, getting back to the US Open Cup for a second time in the last 3 years. They've had some bad luck since that El Farolito game. They've been losing in finals of competitions left and right, particularly in the final stages in a couple of different finals. And Monterey Bay immediately flexing their superiority, and there's an early goal. And it's stabbed home by Moby Fair, created by Alex Dixon over on that left wing, and immediately Inter San Francisco are put under the gun, and they succumb to Monterey Bay inside of the first 90 seconds.
That's beautiful recognition. Too much time, too much space on the ball. And we knew that this Inter SF side was gonna be in a low block, and it did not fare well to start this match. A lovely bit of distribution. Excellent decision to get to the inline. Well-timed runs. And this is exactly what Jordan Stewart wants to see early from his side. We already saw it was a heavy rotation with this starting 11. Getting players exposure and game-like minutes. Things that you can't replicate in training. Invaluable for this side, even in their regular season.
So Moby Fair, the 30-year-old, originally from New York City, in his 4th season with the group. He's one of the originals. Actually came up to the FC Basel Academy in Switzerland. There's a bit of a reckless challenge coming in on this near side from Inter San Francisco. They're trying to quickly respond here. Picked up by Oscar Schub and poked out wide for Adrian Argast. He actually had an invite to the San Jose Earthquakes preseason recently. A little bit surprising to see Inter San Francisco discombobulated and giving up such an early goal, Marion, because of all the positive things we've been hearing coming out of this camp, and that this group is probably one of the amateur sides that a lot of people had circled to potentially threaten for a cup set.
And we had questions when they said that their game plan was going to be extremely defensive in these mid to low blocks. Look, this is a team that the way they got here was by scoring 18 goals in 4 games. That's their bread and butter, being an attacking force to reckon with. And I'll be interested how the early goal changes perhaps that strategy.
Here's Fondi trying to go for goal. Of course, the wily veteran who once upon a time set a single season scoring record for Louisville City back in 2015. Not only took home the Golden Boot and set a single season record, but also was the MVP of the USL Championship back when Louisville City was just getting started. And that record was eventually broken by Cameron Lancaster. And a shove in the back from Miles Lyons, 22-year-old from Tucson, Arizona, his first season with the group. Now a set piece opportunity for Inter. Dylan Altran standing on top of it. It's a good delivery towards the back stick, but dealt with initially by Monterey Bay. Argas trying to help it along, shouts for an offside flag to pop up, and kept in play. And then some. Whipped in across the face of goal, and that certainly had the interest of Sam Gomez, the goalkeeper. Still in the neighborhood. Enriquez trying to find an avenue, takes a deflection on the way in, and eventually cleared away by Luke Ivanovic, who's back for defensive responsibilities, and this is going to stay with Inter San Francisco. So another set piece chance for Inter San Francisco. Referee just making sure there's no nefarious activity at the back stick. And Now the ensuing free kick. Another good-looking ball in. The delivery has been on point from Inter San Francisco when they've been able to get into those positions in the opening 5.5 minutes or so as Jesus Enriquez keeps this in play. Launched back into a dangerous area. Here's Trent. Oscar Schub. Poked out wide for Jesus Enriquez again, and he doesn't seem bashful about running at defenders 1v1. Trying to get to the byline again, a good delivery. Free header, knotted off the back line once more. And Monterey Bay at 6s and 7s at the moment, trying to deal with the speed and the pace of Jesus Enriquez. And this is fired on frame and straight into the gut of Sam Gomez, and he's frustrated with his back line. And after the opening goal, Inter San Francisco have been first to every 50-50, Marion.
I love the response. I think that we're seeing them take that low to mid block strategy out the window. They are comfortable. They are confident on the ball. And the more that they can get their wingers involved, their speedy, crafty 1v1 players, now it's just about getting enough numbers in the box to challenge this back line at Monterey Bay. Questions are being asked, no doubt.
Well, typically it's much easier for these amateur sides to protect the lead and score the first goal as it is to chase the game. And the referee's going to call a foul in favor of Monterey Bay here, and there actually looked like there might have been a stomp involved.
And Jesus Enriquez has already been a problem. His ability to get to the end line is forcing the goalkeeper for Monterey Bay to have to stay on his line. And then his teammates behind him just doing everything they can to keep it alive. And we've already seen a couple of times the service not being, the collection not being clean enough. And here is that stomp perhaps that you were referencing. Hard to tell in that replay, an absolute foul and another dangerous opportunity for Monterey Bay.
Sort of a makeshift corner, won at the near post by Carlos Guzman, 30-year-old from Morelia, Mexico. And it's out of play for a goal kick. And Marion, we've already had a couple of cup sets already in this tournament. We had Foro upset Texoma last night. We had the 2013 MLS All-Star team, otherwise known as Des Moines Menace, upsetting Sporting Kansas City too. Although when you look at that roster, there wasn't much of an upset because you had a bunch of children for Sporting Kansas City playing against arguably some of the best talent that's come out of MLS in the past 10 to 15 years.
Put an asterisk by that one.
Yep. Bit of a heavy challenge coming from the San Francisco back line. That was Pierre Rapeau.
The makings of a cup set are always very interesting, right? A lot of times it's about the why, the desire that teams, the lower division teams come into these matches with. But oftentimes, you mentioned it, it's about being able to withstand pressure, not concede early, and then hang on to a 1-0, 2-0 lead. In this situation, it's going to take a little bit more magic from Inter SF to be able to come back. But from the confidence that we've seen with them in possession, their ability to already build through the thirds, they can create some magic in the final third.
San Francisco trying to go quickly and find their main man up top, Matt Fondi. Attempted to peel it back and eventually clear it away. Alex Lara able to get a touch to it. Now here's Ethan Bryan in some space and room to operate. Poked out wide for Miles Lyons, able to get it back. Trying to drive this across, and it deflects comfortably into the hands of the goalkeeper, Jesus Medina. And 10 minutes in, Marion, this isn't exactly going according to plan for Amir Darabi in terms of what he said to us and what this game was going to look like in terms of their approach. And I'm not sure if that's because of the space that Monterey Bay are allowing for them or the fact that they gave up the early goal. Guzman. Moby Fair, the goal scorer. Encouraging Lions forward. He's engaged in a bit of a wrestling bout. Noah Gaines came away victorious. Enriquez has stood up. Late challenge. Referee wanted to play the advantage, but now is going to address the transgression.
And these are the silly mistakes that Inter San Fran just cannot afford to give up. Set piece situations and the quality of this Monterey Bay side, you don't want to give them any chance to lengthen this lead. Not even 12 minutes into the game. Absolutely no need.
That was Pierce Galloway who was drawing the foul for Monterey Bay and Jordan Stewart's side. Galloway. Looking up with Ivanovic. Moby Fair. Dixon bounces it back for Ethan Bryant. Fair again. Looking for Bryant and mashed away by Max Ornstill, 31-year-old from Oakland. Who actually spent a bunch of time with Portland Timbers too in the USL Championship. Product of UC Santa Clara. Miles Lyons bringing it down. And San Francisco trying to cause a little bit of confusion for Monterey Bay, but they calmly able to play themselves out and switch the point of attack.
And here's the thing about a mid to low block. It's actually a very difficult defensive structure to play. The discipline and the mentality for the mid to low block is much more difficult than a high pressure situation. And look, this is a team that only trains twice a week, and they have to train from 8 to 10 at night because they all have regular jobs.
Regular job, what's that?
You wouldn't know, would
No,
you?
no, absolutely not. Ethan Bryant spraying this one over to the far side. Alex Dixon bringing it down, trying to get towards the byline in the same spot that he was able to create the opening goal. What was your first job out of school?
I tried to play pro for a bit.
How'd that go?
Somewhat got paid, so does that count?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then you scratch that one.
Okay.
Total 180.
Yep.
Marketing director at a dentist office.
Woof.
Yeah.
At a dentist's office?
At a dentist office. And let me tell you, no one tells you that the hours at a dentist office are horrendous. 7 to 5. What is that? What was yours?
Oh, I thought it was 2:30 to 5. Sorry.
Take your headset off. Take your headset off.
It's been a long day. It's a lot of Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Well, I go, you go. What do you think this is?
I was a broadcaster. I was also a production assistant for Sportsnet New York in New York City. And then I started chasing the dream of calling games, and I was the voice of University of Vermont women's basketball while also working at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh, a little twofer.
Oh, yeah. Tyler and Team Sports. That was my name there. Here's Matt Fondy. He did not work at Dick's Sporting Goods. And into San Francisco win a free kick. Now 15.5 minutes in, Moby Fair inside of the first 2 minutes. The lone goal scorer, Inter San Francisco. A few minutes after that, we're knocking on the door and forcing at least one good save out of Sam Gomez. Backup goalkeeper for this Monterey Bay side. Looking to go one step further than they did a year ago when they were bounced in the round of 32. They were able to beat Irvine Zeta of Nisa in the first round. And eventually falling to the Sacramento Republic by a score of 2-0 as Mark Briggs' side were ripe for another potential final appearance. Eventually got upended by Brian Schmetzer, Jordan Morris, and the Seattle Sounders. Here's Moby Fair. Gets it right back. Good interplay. But there was no second option. Here's Galloway was looking for the big switch. Thinks better of it. Now Carlos Guzman will hook it in. Only as far as Lions. Big collision in the middle of the field. And it's going to be a foul called against Inter San Francisco, which is an interesting one. It looked like a 50-50 between Javier Rivera and Miles Lyons.
At first glance, I absolutely agree with you.
Did he lead with his elbow?
And at second glance, it seemed as if the challenge was a bit late. And again, moments, right, where you're having dangerous set-piece opportunities, not good if you're Inter San Francisco. The other thing that has not been good on this side, we mentioned it, the mid to low block, but the midfield is just getting carved up right now for them. Much too easy. The discipline has not been there to try and play such a compact and disciplined structure.
We do have players like Dylan Autran in the middle of the field to play for Oakland Roots. Oscar Cervantes as well. Jesus Enriquez, as we mentioned before, he's been brave on the left wing for Inter San Francisco. He actually played for Monterey Bay last year, so this is a big opportunity for him to stick it to a side that clearly didn't think he was good enough to play. Ethan Bryant on top of the set piece. It's not a bad effort, and it certainly had the interest of Jesus Medina.
And just almost hits it right on the sweet spot to Bennett into the upper 90.
And it looked like for a moment that Medina didn't think it was going to dip back down, and he was already preparing for a goal kick and started to retrace his steps for a brief moment. And that should be a foul on Monterey Bay, and indeed it is. This Inter San Francisco side was only formed a few years ago when they were the first team in 150 years, as we mentioned, of the league that they play in, which is the San Francisco Soccer Football League. And it's been around since the early 20th century. In 1902, they were the first team to ever go from the third division in that league into the first, which of course then made them eligible to potentially qualify for the U.S. Open Cup. So the vision and the recruitment and the organization of, again, an amateur side from day one has all been there for Amir Darabi. But it's amazing when you start to do some of these first round games, because that's where most of the history of this tournament comes into play, because the Major League Soccer sides are great, Marion, and I know that that's where everybody's sort of maybe gripe with U.S. Open Cup, particularly the last couple of years when not every single team is participating, but the history of the game in this sport lies with teams that have been in their cities for decades, for over a century, because those are the ones who were originally participating in this tournament when MLS didn't exist, NASL didn't exist, and there was nothing but simply the people who did it for the love of the game.
There's a deep level of pride that's associated to that, because several of these amateur sides also have very rich ties to their community, whether they raise funds for children's hospitals, whether they raise funds for community parks, right? There's always a bigger why, a community outlet that's involved with that. And you're right, so much of the Open Cup is not magical unless you've got a fan base rooting for you. And I tell you what, Inter San Francisco absolutely does, and they're gonna need a bit of goodwill from their home fan base.
Well, Adrian Argast is getting no goodwill from the referee as he goes into the book for this sliding challenge. He's trying to break up the counterattack.
It's silly. It's silly. And right now, Monterey Bay has not challenged them and has not made them pay in these set piece situations. But how many is too many?
There's a dangerous set piece sent in, and Medina was planted to the spot.
A yellow card has been issued in the 21st minute. To San Francisco's number 6, Adrian.
Completely frozen is Medina. Actually makes his first step forward, and there was nothing that he could do. Almost a beautiful side netting piece from Guzman.
Here's Matt Fondi leading the charge the other way. Argast. Sliding effort from Carlos Guzman, and the wily veteran able to disrupt the attack and claim possession, although clips it into a dangerous spot in the middle of the field. Here's Ivanovic. That's in a negative direction. It's right to the feet of Fondi. Here's Enriquez. Again, the former Monterey Bay player was dropped from the side. Now Alex Dixon, he was the architect of the first goal. Pokes it out wide. Lofted in, pinballs around. And that was not exactly clearing the ball 101 from the inner San Francisco back line, but they get away with it.
Alex Dixon has been pivotal so far for this Monterey Bay side. Mess of a clearance and a bit of a surprise for Javi Nulati.
Nulati, a 20-year-old from San Diego. In his second season, came up to the San Diego Surf Academy that was with the San Diego Loyal from 2021 through 2023. Of course, there's a new show in town as far as Major League Soccer goes in San Diego. San Diego FC have gotten off to a nice start in their inaugural season. Good to hear a young fan leading the charge in the supporters section. And the offside flag is up. Cleaned up by Guzman. Pressure being applied by Fondi and company. Javier Rivera also in the mix. It's a little bit too easy for Monterey Bay. And they have totally opened up inner San Francisco. Slipped through by Bryant. Good football here. All the way across. Back to front football. And finished off by Javi Nulati. As clean as you like from Monterey Bay, they double their lead, and they are cruising inside of the half-hour mark.
Far too easy here from inner San Francisco. This was the moment. Step, step, close the space. Not there in time. A beautiful moment to break the pressure. And from there, Monterey Bay was off and running. The cheekiness of the pass, the timing of the run, the intelligence to keep your run wide, and an early ball that puts the goalkeeper into no man's land. Doesn't know to come out. It's a pinpoint finish. That is class football.
And away we go at 2-0. Xavi Nulati and Moby Fair, the goal scorers. Second of which was an absolute peach.
Open Cup or not, that is a goal you clip out for film session.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Not only clip it off for film session, but you just sort of say this is what this is supposed to look like on the counter and when we're at our best. As Nulati slips it through, Bryant should be on side here. Ivanovic was not. Now if you're Inter San Francisco, you have a mountain to climb against the second division opposition.
And the change for them defensively really has to start with Matt Fondy, making play a bit more predictable. And then when they choose moments to go like this, it's got to be all three lines stepping with them. Far too much time and space, especially in these midfield areas.
They want it back in a good spot here, and then Rivera gets taken to the ground by Miles Lyons, and now a set-piece opportunity for Inter San Francisco. And it's not to say that Monterey Bay aren't capable of giving the ball away and making mistakes, because they very much are, and we've seen it. And Lyons is actually going to go into the book here.
As you and all of our audience know, when you've got a mountain to climb in terms of goals to be scored, you haven't created much in the run of play. Set pieces become that much more important.
Were you the set piece specialist when you were playing?
Absolutely. From a certain distance out, absolutely. This is when I'd be questioning. All right, I had to have the mental talk with myself. Do I have the power to get it there? Do I have the finesse to still place it where I want?
It's good to know that I'm not the only one who talks to himself on the soccer field like that.
Hey, you played pickup this morning.
Yeah.
Did you score?
A few times, yeah.
Okay.
Opposition.
You absolutely kept track.
Opposition wasn't, yeah, there was 5, all right, but who's counting? Opposition wasn't exactly world class, but you know.
I'm being told by the team you were just okay, so.
Rumors will be rumors. Haters will be haters. Dylan Autran standing on top of it, the former Oakland Roots man. Bends it in towards the back stick, and miscommunication between Monterey Bay and their back line and goalkeeper. And now here's Joel Garcia. Nulati. Moby Fair. Oh, that's an excellent ball. Digs in around the keeper. 3-0, but the offside flag is up. This is counter-attacking 101 from Monterey Bay.
And it's actually a dangerous ball. As you mentioned, it caused some miscommunication, but very well done to pick that one up and then just go to the races. Again, too much time and space in the midfield. All numbers forward from Inter San Francisco. And look at the time. 3, 4 touches. The beauty of the run and just a kneecap's worth of an offside. But an incredible finish nonetheless.
Alex Dixon has been doing that since Des Moines Menace were actually rolling out amateurs in the U.S. Open Cup. Here's Lyons. Will be fair. Stood up towards the back stick. Dixon was there, shouts for a handball. Now Dixon will take over and he'll go for goal. Always sailing wide.
And it's really been the occupation of the center backs by Monterey Bay that's allowed so much to open up at other parts of the field. Service from the wide area, shots from distance. Both center backs being occupied forces other players to have to track numbers, and that's just not happening for Inter San Francisco.
Good flick along. Matt Fondy trying to get a touch to it and sort of flick it into his own path. And with an apparent head injury, the referee is well within his right to stop the game. Lottie provided the pressure. Good first touch from Enriquez, and he gets cleaned out by Miles Lyons. Those two weren't teammates at Monterey Bay, but it felt like there was something a little bit extra in that challenge. A little bit nervy there from Gomez. Lara. All the way back for Gomez again. Good distribution to be able to find Lyons, and then he gets shoved in the back by Jesus Enriquez. And Jordan Stewart wants some retribution in the form of a yellow card. And he's not going to get any sympathy from the referee, at least in this moment. Guzman clips it forward. And Inter San Francisco weren't aware of the pressure. Now Bryant taking over. He goes for goal. And that probably was angled for a member of the percussion section behind Jesus Medina. Did you play an instrument growing up?
The flute. Are we shocked?
No, that is spot on. End of discussion.
You had to be like the trombone.
Trumpet, actually. Yeah.
That's even better.
Flute, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
First chair as well.
You already bragged about your playing days once on the broadcast. The fact that you just bragged about first chair for the flute is phenomenal. Speaking of first chair, here's Nulati. Sends it across for Alex Dixon, and he's a step off. Here's Ethan Bryant. It should be Medina's to collect, and indeed it is. Noah Gaines back for Enriquez, looking for the big switch to find Adrian Argast. And a bit too direct from Argast, as he didn't really put a move on and just tried to blow by the defender. Bad giveaway in the middle of the park. Enriquez looking for an avenue to pull the trigger. Finds one, but couldn't steer it on frame.
Jesus Enriquez has been a bright spot for this Inter San Francisco side. Does well to anticipate it, takes his first touch positively, and instead of just letting it rip on the first prep touch, tries to do a bit too much. Sails it high, the crossbar.
Now Monterey Bay are getting a little bit sloppy right in front of their coach, Jordan Stewart, who's walking with the white pants and the big black overcoat. Bad giveaway straight to Nulati, already on a goal tonight. Trying to split two different San Francisco defenders, and he gets stood up and thrown down as well. But the foul's going to be called against Inter San Francisco, and it looked for all in the world that Nulati had just simply lost possession, and there might have been some loose hands that potentially caught him, and he's certainly milking it for whatever it's worth.
A little bit of a clothesline to the neck.
That's a love tap. And obviously, a little bit of sarcasm in that, as it was clearly an elbow to the throat from midfielder Javier Rivera, 26-year-old, just getting a little bit too handsy going into that challenge. And had he kept his hands down, he probably would have come away with the ball. Dangerous set-piece opportunity for Monterey Bay as they're looking to extend it to a 3-goal lead before halftime. So Pierre Rapolt went into the book of the referee. Meanwhile, Ethan Bryant and Alex Dixon standing over the set-piece. And the other big-time club from the San Francisco area, El Farolito, currently with a 1-0 lead over Real Monarchs. So we're on cup set alert in that matchup in Utah. Alex Dixon straight into the wall. Bad giveaway. Blast across the middle, and it was almost the third. Ivanovic was there. He claims that it took a deflection, but the referee does not agree, and it will be a goal kick.
Pierre Galloway has done several moments, several bits of unseen effort, unseen hard work on the defensive side that has often led to Monterey Bay on a positive side in the attacking third. He's been very good for Jordan Stewart's side. And that's what I love about the approach that Jordan Stewart has taken, a complete 180 from the normal starting 11 that we see in his USL Championship regular season. And coaches will go between that decision. Sometimes you'll see a handful of guys interchange. Sometimes you'll see the exact same from the regular season. A complete flip of the script. And one thing that this Monterey Bay side can utilize in these tournament situations are game reps. There's only so much that you can focus on in training to replicate what problem solving on a pitch in real time looks like. These are wonderful moments for Jordan Stewart to get some of the substitutes some quality minutes.
Well, they're hoping it can yield some dividends as well, trying to make the postseason for the first time in club history. Again, only just 4 years old. A lot of people are excited in terms of the part of California that this club was popping up in, and the thirst for the beautiful game all throughout the state of California, but particularly in Northern California as well. I mean, we've seen what Sacramento Republic have been able to do in this competition, go back to 2022 and even to last year's competition as well, getting to the quarterfinals. And that's Enriquez, who's going to go into the book for persistent infringement. And the referee almost accidentally grabbed a red card, and Enriquez was having his heart in his mouth for just a brief moment.
And he's been working so hard, but he's also been very silly in what he's given up defensively. And I have to say, I would have been, if I was Jesus Enriquez, I would have been biting my tongue a little bit there.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you would have fouled even harder than he did.
Well, I would have, but no one's asking me.
Okay.
But we all know that.
I'm asking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Elbow to the chest.
He's running in front of you. There's no opportunity to elbow to the, just, God.
You're the one that called a clothesline a love tap earlier.
Just depends on where you're from, you know? Ethan Bryant. Good build up here. Garcia across the face of goal. Chance still available. Taken down from behind. Big save in front. Medina got there. Bryant lays it off. Here's Lyons, and it's blocked in front again. And Monterey Bay doing a good job of getting back into position as well. Enriquez trying to go long, but the home side clearly in control, and we're able to find their defensive shape as well. In the first 2 games of the season, Monterey Bay have been able to get a win most recently over Oakland Roots by a score of 3-2. They did pick up a red card in that game. Goals were scored by Malongo, Elijah Paul, as well as Anton Soyberg. Garcia picked up the red card in the 84th minute. Garcia trying to wiggle his way through, and Inter San Francisco able to clear their lines. And brought down comfortably by Alex Lara, the 26-year-old from Azusa, California. Product of Cal State Northridge. Also played for the Las Vegas Lights back in 2022, as that runs away from Alex Dixon. Jordan Stewart just in his first full season after taking over in the middle of last year for Monterey Bay. And a lot of work to do with this group, but obviously a guy who knows this league well. Played for Phoenix Rising back in 2017, an extensive career over in England as well. Just 43 years of age, originally from Birmingham. And that is a submarine if I've ever seen one. A little bit reckless there from Adrian Argast, who's already on a yellow card.
That's the word that I would use to describe this Inter San Francisco team for the first 45 minutes. It's been a bit reckless in terms of chasing, which leads to reckless fouls, as you just saw. Really struggling right now to sort out the midfield for Monterey Bay, something that's got to change in the second half if they want to get back in this one.
And feeling the effects of that challenge, Pierce Galloway. And as the landscape of US Open Cup continues to change, Marion, I did want to ask you this question heading into tonight's broadcast about, obviously, if you think about Sacramento Republic in 2022 getting to the final, losing to Orlando City, do you think that it's going to be possible as we continue to grow the game in this country, Major League Soccer continues to sort of expand and open up their salary cap and roster rules for a lower division side to ever win the US Open Cup again?
I think it's going to be really difficult just in terms of the costs, right? The costs that are associated, the training challenges that are associated. A lot of these higher tier divisions, they have these next pro teams, they have these 2 teams, they have these structured training environments that, as we're seeing right now for a team like Inter San Francisco, who trains Tuesday and Thursdays for 2 hours, that's a huge gap to have to climb. You add the cost that's associated with going to some of these places, housing these players, and all of a sudden things get a lot more difficult. And let's be frank, this year is the best case scenario for what Open Cup could have been in terms of all of the behind-the-scenes discussions that MLS was having, right, their involvement. I think that that's only going to continue to be more positive. I think, to your point, that's only going to continue to have more involvement from even higher levels at the MLS structure. And so I think it's going to be the ultimate Cinderella story for a lower division team to ever win the Open Cup again, just because the landscape has changed so drastically.
Here comes Monterey Bay again, looking to make it a third before halftime. Dixon across the face of goal, and it's Dixon, the architect again, and Xavi Nulati, the goal scorer again. Dixon, his second assist on the night. Nulati, his second goal of the night. And Monterey Bay in full control.
And just like that, a beautiful times run and a lovely outside of the foot pass. Not one, but two. And it gets lost on the backside, the run of Xavi Nulati. They get called ball watching, and Monterey Bay makes them pay for it once again. Perhaps the dagger going into the locker room.
Well, Nulati, just 20 years of age and valuable experience getting these opportunities at this level. And
Instant replay brought to you by
obviously know this is a rotated side for Jordan Stewart, but the rotated squad doing their job, and we've seen it, whether it be at the USL Championship level or the USL League One level, that there have been sides struggling to deal with the amateur opposition. As Ivanovic gets around the first challenge. Dixon again, Garcia overlapping. It goes to Garcia. It's back for Bryant. Is there a fourth? Off the crossbar. No VAR, no goal line technology, if that wasn't already glaringly obvious. Not entirely sure if Ethan Bryant could have hit that harder off the crossbar.
Go back to your discussion, you know what else changes a lot of that is the fact that USL is introducing a men's Division I team, right? A Division I league. And then, so you're adding so many more opportunities for players to play at the professional level. And with that, the selection for quality amateur players becomes a bit more limited, a bit harder to find.
Launched over the top. Offside flag is up. Right now, Monterey Bay looks set to coast into the second round as they have put up 3 goals in the first 45 minutes. Jordan Stewart elected to rotate his side, and it's not proving to be a problem. Inter San Francisco with all the problems at the moment. Xavi Nulati at the brace. Alex Dixon with 2 assists. Moby Fair got things started in the first 2 minutes of the game and headed into the dressing room. It's Monterey Bay 3, Inter San Francisco 0. Marion Crowder, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, simply put, if you're Jordan Stewart, you couldn't have asked for a better start for your side. And if you're Amir for Inter San Francisco, you have to start asking questions of the game plan coming into this one, right? It doesn't make any difference to get beat 4-5-0 as it does to get beat 3-0. I expect them to throw everything but the kitchen sink, maybe including the kitchen sink at this one.
Well, all kitchenware aside, we're going to step aside. Monterey Bay 3, San Francisco 0. Halftime in the first round of Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup in Northern California.
We put drains in driveways. Cardinal Stadium is drain whether you walk around the stadium or you walk into the restaurant, you are now part of it. We take the spot where we invest it back into the community. To you is the perfect way to Monterey Bay and Sales Valley. 26 stores, 5 stores right here in your backyard. All the way from Monterey to Sales. At Cardinal Stadium, or Cardinal Outstanding relationships wherever they live. I'm Joe Cardelli, and we love going to our home at Cardinal Stadium.
That idea ignites into a dream.
The dream sharpens into a vision.
The vision fuels the process.
And through relentless craftsmanship, that process is forged into reality. Your vision,
Our craftsmanship.
one unforgettable legacy.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
At Taylor Farms, our goal is to create healthier lives by creating healthy, fresh foods. A stronger community is a win for everyone. That's why each time the Monterey Bay Football Club scores a goal, Taylor Farms will donate $500 to a local nonprofit. Healthy goals, healthy lives. A more perfect union. We are Union!
¿Alguna otra cerveza? Okay, order whiskey.
I can't wait for the moment when you are
Mr. Messi!
Lamar truck, cerveza light superior.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're an arm's length, you will be swapping skin with his extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Please respect that Cardinale Stadium is a smoke-free venue. Smoking is not permitted on the premises.
Getting ready for the start of the second half here in Northern California as Monterey Bay with a 3-0 lead over Inter San Francisco. Tyler Terrence along with Marion Crowder. And as it stands, it's Monterey Bay who would be moving on to the second round of the 110th edition of Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, barring what would truly be a miraculous comeback from the amateur side. But it certainly doesn't look that way for the moment, as Nulati trying to thread it across, and he's already on 2 goals and sitting on a hat trick. Rather impressive performance from the young man, just 20 years of age, and immediately a set-piece opportunity for Monterey Bay. And it looks like whatever was said in the dressing room for Inter San Francisco, at least for the moment, didn't necessarily work.
Can we just get something out of the way real quick?
Absolutely.
Can I change my introduction to Marion Crowder, the flute player? Like, can we just etch that in stone?
First chair,
Flute.
Marion Crowder. Good.
Thank you.
Here's an opportunity on the first time, and another save at the near post. But the offside flag is up.
There have been too many set pieces for Monterey Bay that they haven't capitalized on. Obviously, the score line does not reflect it, and it's been no harm, no foul. But in terms of quality performances, in terms of a full 90 and what Jordan Stewart is hoping to see out of his side, you want to see at least one of the 8 set pieces go into the back of the net at this point.
Seconds picked up by Ethan Bryant, but poked away by Javier Rivera. Again, this Inter San Francisco side have only been around for a few years now, but making their second US Open Cup appearance in 3 years. Lost to El Farolito in extra time. Actually ended up losing that game 3-0 after it was deadlocked at 0-0. The conclusion of 90 minutes. Meanwhile, Monterey Bay were knocked out last year by the Sacramento Republic, who went on to quarterfinals, only to fall to Brian Schmetzer and the Seattle Sounders, who were then bounced in the semifinals by LAFC. But they were able to exercise some demons, not only in the Western Conference Finals, but Western Conference semifinals, in addition to the opening game of that fixture in the 2025 MLS regular season. Seattle winning that game by a score of 5-2 as this is switched for Alex Dixon. He's already got 2 assists tonight. Dinks it towards the back post as it's punched away by Medina. Good pass into space for Adrian Argast. Things opening up a little bit for the amateur side, and that pass is well off the mark, and Garcia could just see it out of play. Chance for Matt Fondy, and he sends that one well over the crossbar, but one of the few clean looks that the 2015 Golden Boot winner in the USL and MVP was able to get off.
And why not? A proven goal scorer in his own right, no doubt. Had a lot of time and space at the top of the 18-yard box. Couldn't make much of it. But at some point, you've got to test the goalkeeper. Get some sort of positive momentum back for your side.
Rivera with a lazy pass, and Argast able to get through the first challenge. San Francisco felt like there was a foul, but the referee says play on. Alex Dixon finding Ethan Bryant. Nulati riding the challenge. Here's Lara. Takes a kind deflection from Monterey Bay. Ivanovic lines it up. And another nasty deflection, and Medina was just hoping that that was going to sail over the bar, and indeed it does.
Deflections have often not found themselves favorable for this Inter San Francisco side. And one that had Medina completely frozen, had it had just a bit more of a dip to it. But here we are again. Stop me if you've heard it before. Corner kick opportunity, set piece opportunity for this Monterey Bay side. Can they make this efficient and put this game away?
Outswinger from Bryant. That's a great ball in. Won by Rivera. Boy, you really have a sore spot for teams that aren't converting on set pieces, huh, Marion?
Look, I think that when it comes down to it in big moments, and we said in the first half, if you're not creating things in the run of play, which I get that this is not the situation for Monterey Bay right now, but we need to look at this team and this 11 that Jordan Stewart has put out with the lens of what he's trying to get. What he's trying to get is obviously a win and on to the next round of Open Cup. What he's also trying to get is valuable playing time and quality repetition from potential substitutes. See who potentially can break the starting 11, who he can put in a clutch moment. And so understanding that, he is going to want to see them take these seriously. He's going to want to see them have efficiency in these moments because, let's call a spade a spade, Monterey Bay hasn't exactly been a lights-out performing team so far in the USL Championship season. And there have been moments where they've had to rely on a spectacular moment, a spectacular play from one individual player to get back into a match. And those moments often come at the crux of a set piece. So for a team like Monterey Bay, I absolutely have no soft spot or sympathy for not being efficient on set pieces.
All right, Marion Crowder choosing violence this morning.
You know, you poked me in the first half.
Every good play-by-play is going to do that. Meanwhile, Brian Canchola came on and replaced Pierre Rappold, who was sitting on a yellow card. So Amir Darabi, the coach for San Francisco, didn't necessarily want to risk that any further. Jesus Enriquez with a clever flick, gets around the first challenge. Nobody stepping to him just yet, still with it. Pushes it out wide. Dylan Autran.
That'll make you feel alive. Do you feel alive?
100%. It's U.S. Open Cup, first round.
Enthusiasm in your voice.
Autran got it away, flicked it towards goal. That was Javier Rivera who got a touch to it.
Bagel corner kick.
Pardon me, that was Julio Cervantes who tried to help it along towards goal. Autran again. Was the contact in the penalty area? Referee says absolutely not, and here comes Monterey Bay on the counter. Bryant. Nulati. Ivanovic in on goal. This to make it 4. Beautiful kick save and disrupted at the back post before Alex Dixon could get there. It is a corner, but Jesus Medina with an outstanding save to keep it a 3-goal game.
We've seen Monterey Bay several times tonight be excellent in transition. This is just another one to add to the docket. Sees the time, sees the space, and takes enough touches for the runs to develop in between him. From a shape perspective, and Inter San Francisco, not enough to be done in the midfield, but what about that save from Jesus Medina? Makes himself big, takes away the angle. He's gonna have to come up big here again.
Another outswinger, again won by Inter San Francisco. That was Brian Canchola, the substitute, heading it away initially. Ivanovic. Medina off of his line and able to catch it. So Jesus Medina a little slow to get to his feet. For Inter San Francisco, it's all about getting the next goal, because if Monterey Bay already get the fourth, then this game is clearly out of reach, but one goal can certainly make things a little bit more interesting. Meanwhile, the other scores going on in the first round, LAFC 2 are up 3-0 on FC Arizona. Ballard and Spokane Velocity are tied at 0-0 in the 44th minute right now. Meanwhile, El Farolito and Real Monarchs 1-1 in the 86th, and that looks like it's headed to extra time. Nice little nutmeg there. Here's Matt Fondy in on goal. Almost too unselfish there. Jesus Henriquez got the cross away. A rather safe clearance there for Miles Lyons, and a corner for Inter San Francisco.
Bagel corner, corner kick.
And Guzman just too lax with it in the build-out. Matt Fondy does a very nice job to read it, and I agree with you fully, Tyler. You take that one a touch earlier, put it to the back stick. You had numbers on there. If the goalkeeper spills it, rebound potentially. But Guzman all but made up for it. A poor giveaway, but an excellently timed tackle. If you go down in the 18, you got to be sure.
10 years ago, you think Matt Fondy's passing that?
Absolutely not. I also think he's got 10 extra years of age on him. The hamstrings don't work the same way.
No?
Do yours?
No.
Okay.
No. Loop towards the back post. Won by Fondy. And again from Rivera. Still available. Fondy thought about taking a swipe at it, but a little bit too far away from him and wanted to protect the hamstrings and let it go out of play for a goal kick.
It might be worth it. Telling your friends, yeah, I pulled my hamstring trying to win in the Open Cup. What do you think?
He's already won so much in his career, and he's done some things
Agreed.
that most of his teammates have not. Looks like it's Luke Ivanovic for Monterey Bay who's down, and they're already motioning for a substitution. Again, in Arlene, hour played here in Northern California. Monterey Bay scoring 3 goals in the first half, 2 goals from Xavi Nulati, and an opening goal for Moby Fair inside of the first 2 minutes of tonight's first round matchup of the 110th edition of Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Tyler Terrence and Marion Crowder with you, and we appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. That's first chair, Marion Crowder.
Thank you. I was about to come across this table.
And for those of you just joining us, that is an inside joke from the first half, because we were talking about the lovely musical section of the supporters group for Monterey Bay and what instrument Marion played when she was growing up, and the answer was flute. But not only did she say that she played flute, but needed to let everybody know that she was the first chair as well.
Right.
So she demanded that her introduction be, from now on, henceforth as first chair Marion Crowder.
And you're just Tyler, the trumpet player. How does that feel?
I'm just Tyler. I don't even deserve the
Oh,
trumpet
look
player.
at you trying to act so humble.
Yeah.
I just want the audience to know it's a lie.
Well, it looks like it is going to be Nico Gordon coming on. A trio of substitutions for Jordan Stewart. Adrian Rebelar, the 25-year-old from Watsonville, California. And last but certainly not least in this line change, Grant Robinson, 26-year-old from Columbia, Maryland, one of the Monterey Bay originals, product of the DC United Academy. Played his college ball for George Mason. And he's got over 50 appearances with Monterey Bay.
Now entering the match for Monterey Bay FC, number 12, Grant Robinson. Number 2, Nico Gordon. And number 7, Adrian Rebelar.
Here's Nulati. Alex Dixon, already with 2 assists tonight. Probably wants a goal of his own and was attempting for a hat trick of assists. Wins the ball back spectacularly. Stands it up towards the back stick. Diving header away. And this one's going to come out. It looks like a foul against Monterey Bay. Who's your favorite to win the competition this year, Marion Crowder?
I don't play favorites.
No? No, not who.
I don't.
No, I'm not asking you to play a favorite. Who's a front runner?
Who's yours? I'm gonna let you get in trouble before I get in trouble. Show your cards, I'll show mine.
Give me about 30 seconds.
Good thing we have a timer.
Formulate my answer in a thoughtful and respectful manner. You know something? I think the Greg Berhalter Chicago Fire era is going to start with a trophy in the U.S. Open Cup. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's a very biased answer. I don't love that answer.
Ethan Bryant chopping it back and eventually losing out on possession. Are you going to keep me on pins and needles over there, or are you going to come up with an answer soon?
I'm deciding. I'm deciding if I should go with the USL Championship dark horse.
Take your pick.
I mean, Sac Republic is obviously dominant.
They've got a love affair with this competition, that's for sure.
I mean, Love City. Obviously, they got some depth.
You just want it to be USL Championship. Who do you actually think is going to win?
Columbus Crew. Go with them. Enter Miami. Can we jump on the Messi bandwagon? Just kidding. Just kidding. I was just trying to keep you on your toes, is all.
Uh-huh. Here's Nulati. Offside flag is up, though.
If you would have said yes, I would have screamed. No, seriously, I actually think that I'm going to pick a new look of Sacramento. Why are you shaking your head? I see you. I see you.
Because you said, I'm actually going to pick,
and then I don't.
But you're not actually making a decision.
You know what? Or we could just go with the Cinderella story.
Who's the Cinderella story?
I'm not sure we have one. Honestly, I was really disappointed with the cup sets.
Des Moines Menace?
Maybe. I was disappointed with the potential of the cup sets last night. That none of them happened. I do love a good cup set.
They were on the docket.
They were.
I mean, I was on the call
really
for the Loudoun United Westchester game.
Oh, were you?
I was. Humble brag. They were up 1-0 inside of the first 5 minutes of that game. Here's Fondy. Excellent feet. Still got it. Hopeful ball in, though.
Did that look like you this morning?
No, that's in the back of the net if that's me. Again, against some questionable competition, but and I'm getting word from our outstanding producer.
Who was also your competition this morning, let's be clear.
Yep, that Moby Fair scored the quickest goal of the tournament so far. About 71 seconds in. Here's an opportunity for Monterey Bay. Getting their wires crossed in the end. Adrian Rebolar working over on the far wing. Long throw was intended for Fondy. Given away by Monterey Bay. And Inter San Francisco almost doing them one better. Autran. He's ripped down, and now a set piece opportunity for Inter San Francisco. And it looks like a yellow card as well. Nico Gordon going into the book after that challenge. 22-year-old from Birmingham, England. Is that a yellow for you?
It's not. I am not much one for yellow cards, though. Let's be honest.
Doesn't matter what they do. You're just not a fan of it.
It's either red or honestly, to me, yellows are just pointless.
Okay.
Just let it go, or throw them out. It's either not enough.
You're on a roll tonight.
Or it's just entirely too much.
Sure.
You asked for more from me. For the audience at the halftime break, he said, "I need more from you in this broadcast. This is more."
I don't know if I meant that specifically, but you know, it's okay. Here's Enriquez. It's a good effort, and it had the interest of Sam Gomez for a moment. Got another substitution coming up for Amir Darabi and Inter San Francisco, as Javier Rivera is going to be replaced by Florian Delatiglo.
San Francisco substitution in the 70th minute, brought to you by BBSI. Exiting the match, number 17, Javier Rivera Hernandez. Entering the match, number 18, Florian Delatiglo.
Autran. Broken up, and it looks like another substitution getting set for Jordan Stewart and Monterey Bay. It looks like Elijah Paul, the 22-year-old from Gilbert, Arizona. And it is Paul replacing Xavi Nulati, who had a fantastic performance, capped it off with 2 goals, and replaced by Paul, former number 7 overall draft pick by Real Salt Lake back in 2023. Ended up spending a couple of years with the Monarchs before eventually finding himself with Monterey Bay. Actually debuted as a professional as a teenager for Phoenix Rising. Argas trying to turn and ends up committing the foul. By the way, you still have not given an answer for who you think is going to win US Open Cup.
I don't have one.
Okay.
I've told you this.
Less than 20 minutes remaining, and Monterey Bay doing almost all of their damage in the first half. Nulati was just subbed off with a brace. Moby Fair inside of the first 75 seconds of tonight's affair, scoring the opening goal and what is the quickest goal in the tournament to date. But then again, we haven't even completed 2 full match days of round number 1. Got another match day coming up.
It still counts.
For now.
Also, I just want everyone to know that I am the broadcaster that's actually doing my job and being unbiased here and not having a favorite. I just want to make sure that everyone recognizes the professionalism that's on the right side of the table, which is where I'm sitting.
Says the woman who wants to outlaw yellow cards. It's either red card or keep playing. Real professional.
It would make for entertainment.
Brought down by Grant Robinson. Here's Galloway. Robinson again. Monterey Bay just toying with Inter San Francisco, really making them work for it, turning the ball back, and all sorts of spaces opening up. This is clean build up here, and the shot just fizzes wide from Adrian Revelar. Local kid, attended Cal State Monterey Bay. Was an Otter for 4 years, and one of the original signings for this club. Has over 90 appearances and 8 goals, and was whiskers away from another.
All jokes aside, this Monterey Bay side, including the substitutions, have really been excellent. Obviously, you take away my dissatisfaction with their corner kicks and some of their free kick opportunities, but the rest of it has truly been a joy to watch. They have built through the thirds. They've been effective in transitional moments. They've been confident in the final third.
Sam Gomez a long ways away from home. Heavy first touch. Revelar on the turn. Galloway. Lara. Galloway again. Lara stepping up. And now Dixon. Gordon. Finally, Inter San Francisco able to get a touch on the ball. Elijah Paul showing off that strength. Threads it along for Alex Dixon, and Medina makes the save, and then it's skied in the end by Revelar.
Instant replay
There's nothing else to it other than this has to be in the back of the net. It's a nice and well-run scramble by the Monterey Bay side. Alex Dixon held on side by the back line of Monterey, or Inter San Francisco, excuse me. And that ball has got to go in the back of the net. Prep touch took his hips a little bit wide. Back stick on the ground.
Almost a near opportunity for Adrian Argas, the talented left winger. Opportunity blocked in front. Jesus Enriquez against his former mates, couldn't quite find the avenue. And now Monterey Bay on the counter. This is where they've looked the most dangerous tonight, but obviously up 3 goals and just trying to see the game out. Not in a huge rush as this is bent in behind the back line. It's an excellent ball, and Elijah Paul will track it down. Paul, a couple step overs, splits 2 defenders, got all the way through. Caught in the doldrums now with these 2 sides as the action has slowed down significantly, especially since the substitutions made by both teams. Still available for a cheeky back heel every now and again. Galloway. The initial pass picked off, went to ground to try to disrupt the counter. So Miles Montgomery is going to come on, and it's actually Nikolai Littleton, who was already subbed on, who's going to have to make his way off. And he's looking at his gait. He's not exactly operating at 100%. And a little bit of frustration from Littleton as well.
San Francisco substitution in the 79th minute, brought to you by BBSI. Exiting the match, number 8, Nikolai Littleton. Entering the match, number 21.
Marion, I know it's difficult to tell, at least from this Monterey Bay side, especially considering all of the turnover from their league game to now, as we'll hold that thought for a second, as Elijah Paul going for goal after he was threaded through by Alex Dixon, and Jesus Medina makes the save, but it's all for naught because of the offside flag. And back to my original point. Monterey Bay, what's their ceiling for them in this tournament?
In this tournament, I think it's actually significant, especially given the depth and the value that an entire change to the starting rotation has shown and proven for Jordan Stewart. Look, it's never easy, especially when you're looking at amateur sides versus a USL Championship side. They are in the throes of a season, right? So they are always managing prep, match day -1, match day +1. There is a lot that goes into the fixture congestion if you're a team that's in an active season. And so for that, you have to have tools and mechanisms to get around it. And for Jordan Stewart, that is a complete rotation of his starting 11. Obviously, that bodes in his favor as they get into the higher, probably more competitive rounds. I've been quite impressed with the substitutions. And I tell you what, in league play as well, I've been quite impressed with some of the individuals that he has fostered into his new system. Obviously came into the USL Championship season last year in a really precarious playoff chasing scenario that's not favorable for any head coach. Had a chance to bring in a roster of new players, foster the kind of system that he wants. And so far, 1-1, but the resilience in the fight and just some of the individual spark that this Monterey Bay side has shown in the USL Championship season so far has been excellent.
I mean, what a beautiful, succinct, and legitimate answer. You couldn't
Succinct is incredible.
You couldn't
and
give
opposite
me,
of what I gave you.
You couldn't give me something like that when I asked you for a favorite to win the U.S. Open Cup. I mean, it's like pulling teeth over there. And I ask you another question, it's like you're a Hall of Fame broadcaster all of a sudden. So we're hearing that Anton Søberg is going to come on, the 24-year-old from Aarhus, Denmark. And he's going to replace Moby Fair, who got things started inside of the first 2 minutes. Quickest goal scorer in the competition so far. And he comes off to a nice warm round of applause here in Northern California. By the way, is this real or fake turf?
I wouldn't know. It's so nice.
Think
if
so?
it's,
no. It's got me fooled.
Me too.
You know, the telltale sign is usually if you see the little black beads
Beads,
popping
right.
up. Yeah, but I haven't seen that. No, I haven't
neither.
seen one. Here's All Trent. Can enter San Francisco potentially take something positive back to the Bay Area in the form of a goal. Long ball over the top. Whipped across the face of goal, and it's a fourth. And it's Elijah Paul. Monterey Bay will march on into the second round, and they've certainly deserved the result here tonight.
And Alex Dixon has been pivotal in the midfield, getting things started, as has Pierce Galloway and Ethan Bryan. Those three players ultimately create this lovely piece of work on the right-hand side, and a well-timed run by Elijah Paul puts the nail in the coffin for this one, no doubt. We have to be candid. And look, I am hard on everybody. That is me, and I already explained to you.
Oh, trust me, I'm aware, yeah.
I've already explained to you what Jordan Stewart, he's not just hoping for a win here for Monterey Bay. He is using this as a tool to help propel them in the regular season. So you have to look at it from a more difficult lens than just winning 4-0 in an Open Cup. But let me tell you what, the goals that they have produced tonight have been quality from his side.
How much do we attribute that to the quality of opponent?
Agreed. And right now the midfield for Monterey Bay has had all the time and space in the world. But you know what that does? Builds confidence. Regardless of opponent, seeing the ball go in the back of the net builds a whole lot of confidence that you're doing something right, that the process is working, and that you're having a positive impact.
Well, that's what I thought during our Wednesday morning pickup, but
I wasn't there.
I looked in the mirror afterwards and I said, I think you're trying a little bit too hard.
That's what you said?
Yeah,
to myself.
Yeah, it didn't give me confidence.
After you just bragged about having
I think it knocked me down.
Goals.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I just got to let go.
I think you need to
see a therapist. That's already happening.
That's a little deeper.
Yeah.
That is the question. In gym class, did you like sprint the mile? You know, did you like go all out?
Did I run it in less than
like
6
you
minutes?
Brought
Yeah.
You brought a change of clothes to gym, didn't you?
No.
Yeah, you did. Oh my God.
I sat my
you
own
were that
filth
guy.
for all 8 periods. No.
Oh my goodness. You were sitting next to me.
Elijah Paul trying to get there, but a crunching challenge at the back from Brian Chinola. Good turn from Ethan Bryant and a good ball into space. Can Monterey Bay find a fifth? Bryant. He's been worthy of a goal tonight.
I agree with you, Tyler. He's been excellent, and it's that deep lying run from his midfield position. It just gets caught underneath him. Probably an effect of the turf, if I had to guess. What would you say? Do you think
Artificial
that's
or real?
You think that's the texture of the pass, or you think that's?
I just think he leaned back. That's what I think. You don't have to be a world-class analyst to figure that out. He was leaning back like he was in a lazy boy. Here's Enriquez and Fondi. That's a cheeky ball. Autran almost got there and cleared away by Lara. Punched into space for Elijah Paul, already on a goal. It's a 3-on-2 if they play this properly, and they do not. Trying to take it off the foot of Nico Gordon. Big switch from Alex Lara. Trying to do his best Virgil van Dijk impression. Good challenge right at the last for Inter San Francisco as Revelar was bearing down on goal. Let's see if Monterey Bay can convert on a corner kick, and Marion Crowder might actually be able to sleep tonight. They're crowning the keeper. In-swinger right in front of goal.
Whoa. We almost had it, Tyler.
I don't care nearly as much as you do about the set pieces. There's no way in this.
Apologies for holding them to a high standard.
Scored 4 goals. They've put on a close to perfect performance tonight.
What did I say about
Adrian
that?
Revelar over the top for Elijah Paul. Trying to head his second in. Almost fell for Dixon, and it's going to be coming out the other way.
Literally preface the whole spill on set pieces that this was, all jokes aside, an extremely clean and an extremely quality performance with worldly goals. But Jordan Stewart particularly would want to see a team that he wants to be able to rely on, substitutes he wants to be able to rely on in the regular season, convert on one of the 15 set piece opportunities they've gotten.
Conversion rate on set pieces is very, very low historically in this game. So I'm no analytics nerd, but I'm just letting you know that the odds are not exactly in your favor in that department. Meanwhile, here's Revelar. Deflected away for another corner. And I'd be pretty ecstatic if we didn't have any more of these, so we didn't have to listen to first chair Marion Crowder complain anymore about.
You're the one that keeps bringing it up, also.
Beagle corner!
Medina spilled it, and again a foul. And by the way, if you're wondering what they're chanting here at Cardinal Stadium, the corner kicks are sponsored by Bagel Corner. So the
getting their money's worth,
public
baby.
address announcer says Bagel Corner, and then the crowd says corner kick, which it's not the most important thing in the world, but we do feel like you all needed to know at home what exactly is going on here.
Do we know exactly what's going on here?
Yeah.
We don't.
We pretend like it. That's going to do it full time. Monterey Bay, 3 goals in the first half, a goal in the second, a clean sheet, and they are moving on to the second round. Inter San Francisco, from almost the moment the referee said go, we're not up to the task despite a valiant effort in local qualifiers, and it's Monterey Bay who are punching their ticket into the next round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. First chair, Marion Crowder, your thoughts on the night.
Monterey Bay was excellent. They were excellent on the day. It was extremely prideful for Jordan Stewart to see a whole entire starting 11 come out onto the pitch, get game-like reps, and show out from start to finish, from minute 2 to minute 90 plus 4. This was in a group of 11 plus that built through the thirds and played excellent football and scored some extremely quality goals. I am excited for what this Monterey Bay side does, not only in the Open Cup, but also as the USL Championship regular season continues.
Well, what we anticipated heading into tonight isn't exactly how it unfolded. We thought maybe just for a moment Inter San Francisco would be a bit more competitive, but Monterey Bay flexing their superiority in the opening 75 seconds of this contest, and they never looked back. For our entire crew here at U.S. Soccer, Marion Crowder and Tyler Terran saying so long for now. The final score in this first round tie in the U.S. Open Cup is Monterey Bay 4, Inter San Francisco 0.